Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Keith. I'm fine. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you so much. The title of this one is going to be Go Beyond the Level of Your Problems. I have used this idea with both small things and big things. And when I say the level of your problem, what I'm really referring to is something that was in the Mayo Clinic Guide to Stress-Free Living book that the author, Dr. Seuss, shares this passage that I'll read to you very quickly. It's just a short passage. And basically, what he says is, the eagle soars in the sky to take a panoramic view of the vast stretches of land. Similarly, you have to engage your higher brain to see life in a broader expanse. Worrying about worrying about catastrophes, blaming, negative thinking, all these help you, all these keep you at the level of your problem or even lower. Gratitude, compassion, acceptance, and higher meaning take you to a level higher than your problem. And I was just thinking about that, and that really resonated with me when I operated or thought, felt, believed, behaved at the level of my problem. My suffering was prolonged. And I'll give you just a couple examples. So one of the examples is growing up in Tennessee with my stepfather, who I mentioned before, struggled with alcoholism. I was so angry, with him and at the situation that I just felt like it was the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me. And that stayed with me for a long time. Now there were people around me along the way that said, Keith, when you get 18, it'll be fine. And even when I got 18 and I was no longer living in his house, I was still carrying it with me, right? I held on to it. And they would always give me advice, like, let it go, let it go. So me ruminating, blaming, judging his behavior, not excusing it, but engaging those behaviors were me operating at the level of the situation, the level of the problem. What people were telling me about letting go was me behaving at a level that was higher than the problem. And so what I did was I practiced acceptance. I practiced compassion, having an open heart toward him, not confusing his behavior with his humanity. And as a result, guess what happened? I was able to let it go. So that's just one example. And with more and more practice, it's happened along the way. Now, it took me a long time to get to that. That didn't happen overnight, Rick, as you know. But it happened with other things. It happened with ToBeRe, with what happened 10 years ago, because I'd used the rep with my stepfather as an opportunity to really practice letting go and being in the present moment. With what happened in To Be Re 10 and a half years ago, where half the people left, in my mind, for things that I didn't think were their business, but people still left. But I even let that go. And in doing so, I was able to be in the present moment, and I was able to simply say, well, if this is the end of To Be Re, man, we had a great 10-year run. That's fantastic,
Yeah.
And I was able to rise above the issue. I was able to not blame people, have an open heart, not say that people were hypocrites or anything like that. None of that would have been helpful. That would have just helped me stay at the level of the problem. But by transcending it, I was able to let go, have an open heart, experience inner peace, which is to me so valuable, and move forward. And again, life continues to show you more and more, or give you more and more opportunities to see if you really got it. Like, is there mastery here? And some things for a second trip me up, but then I find my footing and I recognize that, oh, if I go down this path, I'm operating at the level of the problem. But if I make this other choice, which is available, and that's why the practice is so important, it reminds me, it makes me aware. It's like smelling salt. It makes me aware that there are other choices in how I deal with this moment. Do I want to be at the level of the situation, or do I want to rise above it? Do I want to raise the moment? And I've really been using that. So, Rick, I'd love for you to share your thoughts about going beyond the level of your problems.
Well, Keith, those are wonderful examples. I can imagine how difficult that was as a youngster trying to figure things out with father that you thought was abusive, that would be a problem that would be very, very difficult for anybody, but especially a young man. I think what we're talking about, or what you're talking about, that interests me the most is the idea of not only transcending problems, but to find out who we really are, to find out what our lives really mean to ourselves, not in terms of material things or status or any of the rest, but just yourself by yourself in a room with nothing added. What do you, who are you? What does that look like? What do you want to be? And as I've aged, I think the thing that is important most to me is the idea of simplicity and straightforwardness, being honest with myself, number one, which is very important in getting past your problems. And then secondly, understanding the role that my ego plays in trying to protect me, which often gets in the way of really understanding who I truly am instead of this mask that I portray or put out to the rest of the world. So for me, the idea of transcending problems and getting past that level is to awaken your inner wisdom about yourself. And that involves two things, I think. One is compassion for self and others. And I think it also has to do with gratitude. We tend to get caught up in our problems and we are not grateful at all. We're angry, we're spiteful, we reject our present lives because they're full of problems. But the reality is, most everything in your life is there for you to accept, not judge, and to be present in the moment. And through that process of being present in the moment and not judging and being aware, those things allow us to have inner wisdom, awakening ourselves to ourselves. And once I think you get a taste of that and you figure out that a lot of what you do in life is meaningless, and that what your true meaning is what you make it based on the inner wisdom and compassion you show for self. I think that that goes a long way into to bringing inner peace and transcending all of your problems, not just the immediate acute ones, but all of them. So I guess straightforwardness, simplicity, compassion, gratitude, all of those things, they're not just platitudes. These are ways of adjusting to life and being free from the torment and suffering that comes from dwelling on problems.
Man, Rick, I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you.
No,
Uh,
you're welcome. Everybody's got to go their own way, right? I mean,
uh,
that's just something that I think is helpful for me.
yeah, me too. Rick, thank you for a great show. I love you.
I love you, Keith. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.